Hello and welcome back, everybody. Happy Thursday. Sara here with Kaily. Super excited to be back today. Kaily, I bought this game. Okay, I'm telling you, we've been having so much fun, and I'll get into it. But Donnie and I had an argument in the game. I'm like, wow, this really is like real life. And so the game's called Cash Flow, and I found it because I'm reading Robert Kiyosaki's book. Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, and he talked about his game, and he said sometimes you just can't read to learn. You actually have to do the actual work to learn as you go, right? So it's hands-on learning. And so it's called Cash Flow 101, and it's about getting out of the rat race. Now, first, I want to talk about the rat race. So the rat race isn't just working all the time, right? If you love what it is that you do, then that's amazing. And you should continue to do what you do because that's not really work, right? But the rat race to me is doing the same things every day and expecting different results, right? So let's say you want time and financial freedom. Let's just say financial freedom, right? Because there are people out there who love what they do. If you want financial freedom, but you're going to a job and you're only making a salary and you're only putting a little bit in savings, you will never get out of the rat race.
Yeah.
So what do you think when you think of rat race?
Yeah. So when I think of rat race, it's the same thing. It's just from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, you just feel so exhausted, whether it be, you're wanting to have a better life or financial time and freedom, whatever it is, but you just feel like you don't have the time because you're always in the hustle and bustle and you don't have the time. But you're still choosing to do that, right? And you're doing that every single day and hoping and wishing for that better life or whatever it is that you want. That's what I think of.
So we spend 50 years working, right, at a job. We spend 50 years collecting a salary. We get taxed on that salary upward of 50% most of the time. Our taxes is the highest expense that we pay. It's the most that we pay money on. We pay taxes on, food and entertainment and gas and all of these things, right? You pay taxes on everything that you do, and then you pay what's called income tax. So the difference between a rich person and a poor person is not I'm not saying you're poor, that you're living on the streets. It's a poor mindset, right? And I think that's what Robert's talking about in his book is Rich Dad Poor Dad, is the mindset on it, right? So rich don't make an income, so that they're not taxed. They understand tax law, they understand business law, they understand real estate law, they understand stocks and bonds, and just the basics. You don't have to go to school for these. There's information out there. But the poor mind, which most of us was raised as, is go to school, pay for that school, get an education, and then get a job and work for that whatever you learned in school, and work until you can create freedom. But here's the thing, in school they don't teach you how to make money. They teach you how to work for somebody else who's paying you money. Okay, so it's a big difference. So in the game, you're given a financial statement, which I think is so cool. If you guys haven't gotten this, go out and get it. I think there's a version online as well that you can do. My husband's a big board game guy. He loves board games. So I purchased it. It was worth every dollar. We have played it. We were up till 3:00 in the morning playing this on Saturday. It was the longest that I have been up since a long time. And the goal is to get out of the rat race in under an hour. It took me 4.5 hours. Donnie got out of it twice before I got out of it once. And then it teaches you about passive income. And so the way to create financial freedom is to have a passive income that surpasses your expenses, not an income that surpasses your expenses, because an income is not secure. Okay? No money is secure.
Yeah.
But passive income is like stocks and bonds, buying businesses, real estate, right? Things like that. And it gives you really cool scenarios. So it teaches you, I don't know, I'm probably going to be the one mostly talking here because I'm the only one who's played it, but Jump in anytime.
Yeah.
But it gives you like scenarios. So like one of the cards was like, oh, and you can take out loans. So you can take out loans from the bank too, which was really cool. First time Donnie did it, he went bankrupt because he bought a 24 unit house. He was a, so it gives you an occupation. So we draw an occupation without looking, and he was a nurse, and the nurse didn't make that great money. Also, if you land on having a baby, which I ended up with 3 kids. I don't have kids in real life, but man, they are expensive. Let me tell you. Every time I landed on a kid, I had to add $480 a month to my expenses. So my expenses kept going up, but my passive income wasn't going up. So I was trying to figure that out. And it shows you how to, pay off expenses, which expenses to pay off first to increase your cash flow. It's really
Wow.
cool.
That is so cool because it's literally real life's different scenarios in real life, right? That's the entire game.
Yeah. So, you and I are doing a power debt payoff on January 18th, and I'm actually going to take a lot of what I learned from this game as well, including the financial statement, and help people walk through this. Because we took that financial statement, because in the instructions, he says you should use this for real life. And Donnie went out and he did a whole spreadsheet, and we went through our expenses and like what we spent last year. And it's called a forecast. We're forecasting what our income is going to be for this year based on what we spent last year. Right. And everybody should have that at the end of every single month. You should be doing your books. You should know what your cash flow is versus your expenses. How can you bring down your expenses to increase your cash flow so that you can increase your passive income? Because you will only be financially free or independent or safe when you have passive income that surpasses your expenses. Okay.
Yeah.
Now there's different type of expenses. There's corporate expenses, like if you own, let's say you have a real estate business, right? If you are buying real estate, I highly recommend speaking to an accountant, speaking to a lawyer about starting what's called a holding company and putting your real estate in there, right? Because then you're going to get tax benefits as well, and you're going to learn things like that. But taking out mortgages, right? Do you pay with cash? Do you pay with credit? Do you pay with loans? Do you pay with the equity from other houses? Right. So people are like, oh, how do you buy so many properties? The best way to buy, and guys, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a bookkeeper. I am just somebody who is learning this as I go along and sharing my do's and don'ts with you. And so if you want to buy a second property and you want to start investing, the best way to do that is to take out the equity from your own home, start an LLC or whatever corporation, and then buy a second property. And then from there, you would just keep duplicating that. It's called BRRRR. You buy, you renovate, you buy, renovate, rent, refinance. And then when you refinance, you pull the money out and you buy another property.
Yeah. It's so smart. And I've learned so much from you too, Sarah, because you've done crazy things with real estate this year, or not this year, last year, 2021. And it's been so amazing to watch, but it really is a simple concept, like how you describe it and all the things that you teach on, especially if you're listening and you've all bubble in my throat. Especially if you're listening and you've always wanted to literally make like a passive income. So you want to be making money literally while you sleep. And that's what real estate investing can do for you. So if you're listening and any information of this pops out at you, absolutely talk to Sarah, because she's done. What did you buy? 4 or 5 doors last year?
I bought 5 doors. Yeah, I'm sitting at 6 doors right now. Right.
Yeah.
So you need to know
So
your numbers. You also need to know, so for me, I have a certain amount of money that I need to make per door. Right. Some people will buy what's for the equity, right? They'll buy in a neighborhood. Maybe they're not going to make some money, but they know that the neighborhood's up and coming, because they know that, things like if you put a Walmart in a neighborhood, that neighborhood's going to expand. Right. So they know it's going to be an up and coming neighborhood. So they buy it for the equity. Or they buy a piece of land now because they know later that they're going to be able to develop on it and turn that around, right? Because if you buy a piece of land, you don't make any money on it until you put something on it. And so you can make passive income in lots of ways, not just real estate. I just happen to prefer real estate at this moment because it's what I'm learning now, but I am learning about stocks, right? My husband's learning about stocks, and it's a different type of learning. So it's not something that I'm very versed at yet. Or like crypto. Crypto is another one that provides really good passive income, but I'm not versed at that yet. So mostly what you're going to hear me talk about is real estate because it's something that I ask a lot of questions on, and I do a lot of reading in different books. And now I'm playing this cash flow game, so I'm understanding it. Now my husband in the game bought a lot of stocks, and he bought low and then he sold high. Like he bought like $1 stocks, and he put all of his money in, and then a couple turns later he was able to sell that stock for the $1, was selling for $30, and he made like, I think it was like $780,000 he made. Right? But that's the risk that you're taking. So this game teaches you the risk that it takes. I went bankrupt in the game. My husband went bankrupt in the game. You learn, and you take what you're learning in this game and you apply it to real life. Of course, you're going to do more studying, right? You're going to know tax laws. You're going to know real estate laws. You're going to know, about stocks and bonds. Like you're going to learn that, and you're going to ask a lot of questions as you go. But this gives you the basic fundamentals on what it takes. And let me tell you, when you're in cash flow and you're outside the rat race, man, I was up to like $5.2 million. Like it was amazing. I was buying businesses for $300,000 without making a dent in my money. And that's where it comes from. I was raised to save your money, save. Money being in a savings account is not making you money. It's unemployed money. You have to put your money to work to make money. But we get so fearful, right? We talk to people who've been saving, like my dad saved for 40 years. He saved for 40 years. He saved $100,000. And now he's like retired, and we're trying to figure out how to make this money work for him. But he's still scared. He's still scared to spend the money.
Yeah. And I was raised the same way, right? Save your money for a rainy day. That's how I was raised. But
well, it's snowing here.
It makes complete sense when you think of like your money in a savings account, because you could learn these things, the fundamentals of this game, for instance, of what we're talking about right now, and go through all the experiences in a game, see what it looks like, get a feel for taking the risks inside of the game, right? Not that you have to go out tomorrow and invest in a stock that you know nothing about, but that's what Sarah's saying, is this game is so on the hands-on and so like real life that you can take risks, you can invest in properties and stocks and whatever it is, and see how to make your money work for you. And when you start doing that and you see the return and you see the success and the profit in all areas of your life, it makes you more comfortable, like in real life, like presently, to do that with your money. Because I was taught the same way. I was taught save your money. But if your money's just sitting in the bank, sitting there, and you're hoping it grows, and you put whatever from how much you make every single week, every 2 weeks, whatever it is you're saving, there's so many ways that you can use that money to change your life and take risks and do things. And I'm not saying leave yourself stranded and just completely drain everything that it is you have, but I'm saying think of different things you could do, opportunities that are standing there in front of you, and think, if I take this risk and if I use, a bit of what I have here, how can my life change?
I love what you said there about opportunities. So it states in the game, every day, it shows us how every day we are passing up on opportunities to make more money. We walk by opportunities all the time, right? So I posted a quote in my stories. I think it was yesterday, and it says, I wonder if I still have it on my stories. It might have been archived, but it says that the rich people are rich because the poor people think everything is a scam.
Yeah.
Right? So like crypto. How many people are on your feed or in your messenger showing you something about crypto? I have watched people go from bankrupt to millions of dollars and pay very little tax because they learned how it works in a short period of time. I'm talking like less than a year, like 6 months, they've made millions of dollars, right? Because they're willing to take a risk. Now, I saw people also lose a lot of money taking a risk because they didn't learn a lesson or they didn't learn as they go. Me, myself included. I took a chance, I took a risk, I put $500 into something, I lost it immediately, right? So you have to be willing to take risks as well. And you have to understand it. You have to understand that what you're doing is risky, but also going to a job every single day thinking that you're guaranteed to have that job for the rest of your life is also very risky. So in Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talks about his rich dad and his poor dad, how his poor dad worked for the government for like so many years. He was in his 50s when he got fired and he had no money. He had no passive income. Right? He talks about a story about a family who owned a business. They owned a business and they didn't invest in anything else except that one business. And then the daughter got sick and they went bankrupt and they lost everything. Right? So you have to. I know we're always talking about being in the present moment, and yes, you need to be in the present moment. But if you're looking for financial freedom, you need to know the goal, the dream at the end. So in cash flow game, the first thing we do is we pick our dream that's on the board. And my dream was like to see the 7 wonders of the world, and it was like $200,000, right? So I'm like, yeah, it's $200,000 that I need to make to buy my dream to win the game. Either I had to make $50,000 above what my cash flow was or buy my dream, which I bought my dream and it was awesome. But in the game, oh, it's so cool. Like I grew up hating Monopoly. I hated playing Monopoly because it took so long, right? It took so long and I would lose a lot of money because wasn't strategic. And then I started watching Donnie play Monopoly, and Donnie dominates Monopoly. Nobody wants to play with him because he always wins. Why does he always win? Because he spends all his money early to buy properties, to buy hotels, and to double mortgage those motels. And so he ends up winning. And so that's why we got this game and we started playing it. And what I love about this game is it's tangible. I can see what I'm buying. Let me put this in the perspective. Saturday night we were playing. I had 50 doors. I had bought 50 doors. And I still was not making enough passive income. My income each month was $25,000, but my passive income didn't exceed my monthly expenses. So even though my income was $25,000 a month, my passive income was only $11,000 and my expenses were $17,000. So even though I was making that $25,000 a month, my passive income still didn't exceed my expenses. And so that's some things that we need to learn. And how do you learn that? You have to write down what it is that you have, what you owe, what you're spending money on, how much money you're spending on groceries versus how much you're throwing away at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what Donnie and I had to go through is like, okay, we're buying all these fruits and vegetables for the two of us, right? I buy a bushel of bananas. He doesn't eat it that much. I'm the only one who eats bananas. I eat one banana a day. There's 7 bananas. By day 4, they're already brown. So I'm throwing out like 3 bananas at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like when you go through life and you become successful and your income or your passive income starts to grow, like say right now you're making $3,000 a month. You're living within that means, right? You're probably not saving, you're probably not investing, you're just living within that means. Well, you have to be smart wherever you are in your life, because even people that are making $2 million a month, some of those people are still broke. Yep. Because of what Sarah just said, that the passive income doesn't add up to the way that they're living the life, right?
Yep.
So I love that you said too, the game makes you pick a dream when you start. Yeah. And that's what we talk about. We literally talk about here for the last year now that you need to know what it is you want, not how you're going to get it, not all of the things you're going to go through to get there. You just need to know your goal, your dream life, what it looks like. And then That's when all the other areas come in, is when you tap into meditation and you visualize yourself having that. And then you put in the things you learn through this game and learn through life, and you take those risks. That's what's going to get you there. But what risks are you taking if you don't really have an end goal, right? So
Yep.
when you have that end goal and that big dream picture, you're going to start taking risks that are going to move you towards that, right? So you have to know where it is you're going first.
Now, most people will say they want to make the passive income or the money because they want to be comfortable, because they never want to be in a position where they don't have money, right? Like, that's the way most of our mindsets work, is I just want to get through life comfortably and not have to worry about bills and things like that. Well, it's amazing how you don't worry about those things when you have consistent income coming in. Now, this is not a get rich quick type of thing. It is not a guarantee, because even the most successful people have lost it all, right? So like Donald Trump in the early 90s, he was $9 million in corporate debt, or $9 billion in corporate debt, and $1 billion in personal debt, right? And he was filing for bankruptcy. But he bounced back from that, and that's where the mindset is going to be. And so this is what's going to teach you. Like I said, in the profession that I chose, I was a doctor. And I had more expenses than Donnie, who was I can't remember what he was. Truck driver? Nurse? He might have been a nurse. He had less expenses than me, right? Like, I had higher student debt. Like, I had to factor all that in. And then when I was just about to get out of when I was just about to get out and be out of the rat race, I ended up having a kid, and that added $500 a month onto it. Right. So like, all of these things accumulate. And it's more different for us now, because when you have a child, most of the time, actually, that's not true. In my era, like, I lived with my dad till I was like 33 years old. Like, I could not afford to live out on my own. Even though I was working 2 to 3 jobs, I couldn't afford rent. Like, I couldn't afford rent in my car. I didn't have much to pay for. I had some credit card debt, but I couldn't get ahead. Now, though, the new generation is making more money than their parents have ever made. Why is that? Because they're learning how to spend their money and how to utilize their money to make more money, right? There's affiliate marketing. There's now crypto. There's these NFTs. There's I just saw somebody in Toronto buy a garage for $700,000, and he just got out of high school. He's like, it's his first property, and he's going to build a house on it and sell it for over $2 million, right? It's the vision. You have to have that vision, and it's the goal. And it comes from your dream. What is your dream?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that you have to have that in a lot, right? It's first thing when you learn when you go to school is stop daydreaming, get out of your imagination, and listen up.
Mm-hmm.
So from a very young age, everybody stops dreaming. Everybody stops making the want list and the goals and the vision boards, right? Everybody stops doing that. So start doing it again. Get into that mind space. Have fun with it. Know what it is that you want to go after, and be passionate about it. Like, give it your all. I am somebody now who never half-asses anything. And somebody who inspires me and gets me motivated is Kevin Hart. Like, absolutely love him.
Love him.
Is so awesome, like in all areas of his life. In fitness and health, he dominates. And his career with acting, he's got books, I'm pretty sure has a podcast. Like, he does it all. He's a family man, he's a dad, he does it all. And when you look at somebody like that, and that's the thing, like, it's so easy to look at somebody like that and think, wow, that must be nice, he has it all, right? But he did that. He had the vision, he had the dream, and he is somebody who doesn't half-ass it. He's somebody, I'm pretty sure that's where I heard that was from him, when he says, like,
Yep.
if you want something, don't half-ass it. Anything you
be
do
all
in your
in.
life. What's that? Was it him?
You have to be all in. Yeah, all
you
in.
have to do all in on everything that you do. And it's so funny. I think of this shit all the time. Like, literally, that's where my head is all the time. And last night we were making the bed. My husband and I, we washed it, so we were putting all the sheets on it. And I was like, give it your all, babe. I'm like, tuck that corner. He's like, what? And I was like, don't half-ass this bed making, tuck that corner. And he's like, okay, Kaily, but it's true. Like anything you do in life, no matter what it is, give it your all. Like love
Yeah.
what it is that you do. Give it your all, because when you give it your all and you're feeling good about what it is that you're doing, everything else just seems better.
Yeah. He says you can't start something and not finish it,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't start something and not finish it because then it's always half done. So
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey, I read his book Green Lights. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And he talked about how he was going to law school. Like he was in law school and you know, during I think it was his first year, he came to a realization that this isn't what he wanted to do. And he picked up the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, and he decided that he wanted to be an actor. And that's what he wanted to do. And he called his dad, who was like, you know, strict at that time. And he said to his dad, Dad, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I want to be an actor. And his dad says, is that what you really want to do? Matthew's like, yeah. And he's like, just don't half-ass it. Don't
Yeah.
half-ass it, right? You can't half-ass money because
No.
then that's how you lose it. If you half-ass money, that's how you lose it. And I can tell you that it's probably the number one thing that's always on your mind, right? How you do money is how you do everything. It's how you pay the bills. It's how you raise kids. It's how you put clothes on your back. It's how you get to work. It's how you get home from work. It's the job that you choose, right? It's the vacation that you choose. It's even the fucking meal you choose at the restaurant. You choose it probably based on the price because you can't afford it. Right? In this book that I'm reading, it was in the last episode we talked about, a man called that's what I call him. He took his wife, it was their first date. He ate first so he could have enough money so that she could order whatever she wanted. And he just had like coffee and a dessert because he couldn't afford to because he was very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's so true.
He didn't believe in spending money eating out. That's what he says.
Yeah. And
Right?
it's
And I
so
was
true,
like,
right?
yeah, it is.
You have to look at your life. Like, are you playing it safe? Are you happy? Are you struggling? Are you literally scraping the last 2 days before you get paid just to get by? And if you are, wake up. Like, literally wake up, because this life isn't getting easier. Money every single year, the cost of living every single year is going up. Like,
This
I
is going to be the
can't
worst year
believe,
too.
yeah, like I can't believe having 2 kids now, the grocery bill, the cost of living is going up. Your pay that you get from your job is not. Utilities go up every single year. The cost that you, or the pay that you get, once again, is not. So how can you expect to keep doing what you're doing if you're in that place in your life right now where it's tough and you're struggling to get by? How do you physically see yourself being able to continue down this path, not change anything, do the exact same thing you're doing, and be successful, be wealthy, have money to do the things that you want? It's
Yeah.
not going to work. You
Nope.
literally have to break that cycle, and you have to do something different. And if it's starting listening to a podcast, do it. Do something that you're not doing so you can get different results than you're getting.
Yep. And you know, you're absolutely right. So like, let's just look at groceries, right? So for Donnie and I, just the two of us, it's like $340 a week, right? That's just for the two of us. So imagine a family of 4 or a family of 5 or a family of 6, right? And in Canada, our taxes are going up like $5,000 per household this year. So if your wage is not going up, but you're now being taxed even more, that means your credit card bills are going to go up because you're relying on them, right? Which means your expenses are going up, which means it's not going to surpass your income. And now, if you're in this mindset, if you're listening right now and you're thinking, well, if everybody gets into real estate, there won't be any real estate to buy. If you're in that mindset, you're going to stay in the poor mindset, right? If you're in the mindset of, well, why doesn't everybody just do real estate? Because not everybody's going to be in that mindset, right? And it's not always going to work out for everybody else.
Yeah.
There's more ways to make money Like, again, buying stocks, buying companies. You can buy franchises and buy into. You can buy shares of a company, right? You don't have to buy a full company. But these are the things that you need to learn. You need to be willing to learn first. When I was playing the cash flow game, and I had all of these properties, but I wasn't getting out. It taught me. It taught me what I needed to learn to get out of that rut. And I was in that rut for 4.5 hours, and I was getting frustrated with Donnie. I was like, oh, I suck at this. This is not gonna happen. Why is it? I'm like, I have all these properties. I'm like, I don't even have any more room on my paper to buy more properties. Why am I not getting out? And then I had to sit down and I had to look at it. And I had to look at it closely. And I'm like, look at my expenses. How can I get rid of some of these expenses? Right. And so in the game, you sell real estate, you sell your stocks, like you sell companies. You also get bonuses, right? So, like, let's say you have a stock and then you'll get like a bonus. Great. The stock market has increased from this company. Anybody who owns gold, you get half of the amount of what you have, right? And that happens when you invest, but it doesn't happen in your business, right? They're not going to say, "Hey, I'm having a good Friday. Here's $100. Here's $5,000." You know what? Bonuses. That's one of the things you don't see very much of anymore is bonuses in businesses. People who banked on that and relied on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So take a look at your life, see where you're spending and what you're doing and where your money's going and where it's coming in, right? And if it's something you want to learn more of, like Sara said, we're having a debt power payoff event in a few weeks here. I'll put the link below so you can get registered. But it's literally something that you need to do. It's something you need to look at and make a normal part of your life and implement it so you can move forward and stop feeling stuck and being in the rat race. So if you're interested in learning more or coming to our debt power payoff event, I'm going to drop the link below. Make sure you register as it is coming up. It is on January 19th,
18th, 7 p.m. Eastern.
January 18th, 7 p.m. Eastern. So I'll put the link below. You can register. But yeah, I mean, it's something that you need to implement into your life because you need to know what's coming, what's going. And you also need to know if what is happening right now in your life aligns with that big picture you have in your mind, because that's how you get ahead.
Absolutely. And if you are going to register, I please recommend registering now and earlier because I am going to be sending an email with homework that you're going to need to do before you come on because we are going to need to know your numbers, right? Like I'm going to walk you through it.
Awesome. So click the link below. Make sure you register and we'll see you there. And also, we'll see you guys back here on Monday. Have an absolutely amazing weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Make some
Don't forget
memories.
to subscribe.
Yeah, don't forget to subscribe here. And we'll chat with you soon.
Bye.